Welcome to Inkhaven Presents, Readings from the Archive. This is a podcast where I, Ben, invite writers from the internet to bring something they've written and talk about it with me. My guest today is Jacob Schaal. Jacob has many hats. He is a contributing editor at for the AI Economic Brief of the Windfall Trust. He's also a research assistant in the Department of Political Economy in King's College London, and is an AI governance research manager at the nonprofit ERA at Cambridge, which two other of our Inkhaven residents have gone through that program. Thanks so much for joining me today, Jacob.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
What have you brought to read for us today?
I brought the AI economics brief where I summarize like 3 papers on the AI economics impacts from AI. One is from OpenAI, where they push back on fast job displacement based on regulatory necessity, demand elasticity, for example. The second one is on a token tax, like Alex Bose, the popular Congress candidate from New York, which was attacked by the AI industry super PAC with lots of, I think, $2.5 million in ads. He proposed a AI dividend plan to tackle the social problems which AI might cause. He also suggested to finance that with a token tax. So taxing the outputs of AI. There's also a theoretical paper from people at Oxford looking at that. But I mean, it turns out that there's also out of context reasoning. So the reasoning might shift out of the chain of thought where safety researchers can look at it. I think Alex Bose also claims to care a lot about safety, so that's a bit confusing, and that reduces also the tax base as more reasoning might happen inside of the model weights instead of in the chain of thought. It's visible for everybody.
Okay, we'll get into more of that. So that's the second one, and the third one is...
the third one, that's quite interesting. I think more rigorous than the 2 other more policy-related pieces. That was a field experiments with a business accelerator. I think for the Silicon Valley crowd, it's quite similar to Y Combinator, but for France. So it's they had 515 startups, and they did an experiment with them. So they give all of the startups got $25,000 in API access, resources, and a bit of mentorship, but only half of them got classes with specific AI use cases.
I'm going to cut you off here. I'm not going to do the summary. We'll go into it after a bit.
Okay, sorry.
So you're going to summarize 3 new results or papers or things that happened in the world. And then is there anything else we need to know about it before we listen to it?
No, I think that's good. It's just summarizing 3 papers. I think we're targeting academics and policymakers.
Yeah.
And I think it's newsletter is going well.
Neat.
I also got feedback from Scott Alexander the other day on the newsletter.
Oh.
To be honest, I was a bit sad that he didn't give too much feedback because I don't know, my writing was too dry or formal, so I think his writing magic was lost on me, and then but he also didn't find the factual errors. He when clicked on the PDF links of the papers, so I think that's also made me happy. But
okay, well, we'll chat a little bit more about the feedback you've gotten on it. But this is a newsletter you've done. This is the number 10, the 10th issue of it, which you've been doing, I think, every 2 weeks. Did you say since in the last few months? And these are the things that you think are the most important that are happening currently in the area of economics and policy around AI.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just talking to a postdoc from Stanford who challenged me a bit. That I think just looking at the economic impacts from AI or the social impacts from AI is probably not the most important stuff. I think he was a bit more about even more transformative impacts, or looking at automating AI R&D, or these kind of low probability dramatic scenarios, and that a bit other work might be more useful. I don't know. Maybe it's also a bit of streetlight bias. I've been involved with labor economics for a few years. I think if I were to automate a lot of people, I think that would also be quite dramatic news, and
Yeah, I
also
agree.
like the political importance of that. But yeah, I mean, like we are also like in like AI Economics Brief 8, I also covered like R&D automation. So we are trying to cover everything a bit, and like also giving our own analysis, or like so that like busy policymakers can read the summary, but also have like a structured take on it.
I see. So each section will describe the paper or the piece of news, and then also give your analysis of what makes sense and what's true.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
All right. Well, we'll listen to that. Thank you very much.
Due to technical difficulties, a member of our staff, me, is reading the article for this episode. Brief number 10. Why AI's impact depends on organizations and demand. The gap between what AI can do and what it actually changes. Need to know. 1. Workers in the highest risk category already use ChatGPT at 3 times the rate of lower risk workers, yet the latter have seen unemployment rise more, according to OpenAI. This suggests demand elasticity, not displacement, may dominate. 2. Alex Bors, a candidate for Congress in NYC who is the prime target of the AI industry's Leading the Future super PAC, published an AI dividend plan financed by a token tax. This token tax makes AI inference less attractive relative to human work, but tokens are a bad proxy for automation. Taxing inference tokens may also incentivize labs to hide reasoning within model weights, rather than generate it as a visible chain of thought. 3. A field experiment with 515 startups finds that discovering where to deploy AI, not access to the technology itself, is the binding constraint on firm-level productivity gains. The discourse. Will the future economy run on human connection? Alex Emas' Chicago booth argues yes, that scarcity of genuine human involvement will anchor a relational sector of teachers, therapists, and craftspeople. However, Phil Trammell, Stanford, pushes back in the comments. Historically, new wealth flows to entirely new product categories, not to paying humans to be human. Jason Abeluk, Yale, goes further, arguing that most goods on Emas's list are valued for their quality, not their human origin, and that transformative AI could reshape preference formation itself. Steven Schubert's summary covers the full exchange. OpenAI tried to measure demand elasticity in its new framework, but the gap between the concept's importance and its measurement remains large. In detail. OpenAI's job transition framework and the limits of exposure as a measure. Alex Richmond, OpenAI, published an AI jobs transition framework that pushes back against overinterpretations of AI exposure as job displacement. The document is both a serious empirical contribution and a piece of policy positioning. Together, the 921 occupation classification and the usage pattern data from ChatGPT provide researchers with the cleanest operationalization of exposure available. Richmond reports that workers in the highest risk occupational category use AI roughly 3 times as much as workers in lower risk categories. Yet the latter see larger increases in unemployment. According to OpenAI's own CPS analysis, see Figure 1, the high automation risk category saw unemployment rise by plus 0.3 percentage points from Q1 2024 to Q1 2026, compared to plus 0.6 percentage points for the less immediate change category, though that residual category may include construction, transportation, and other cyclically sensitive occupations, which could explain the larger increase through non-AI channels. The implied mechanism is demand elasticity. When AI reduces the cost of a service, total demand for that service can grow enough to offset the labor-saving effect at the task level. This is consistent with McKidris and Johnston's industry-level evidence showing 3.9% higher job growth per standard deviation of AI exposure. For each category, OpenAI recommends different policy responses. reskilling and transition assistance for high-risk jobs, staffing standards for occupations such as lawyers and teachers undergoing reorganization, and capacity building for occupations that may grow. OpenAI's broader industrial policy vision, covered by TechCrunch, includes public wealth funds and a shift in the tax burden from labor to capital. Our analysis. The framework relies heavily on its LLM-generated numbers. GPT 5.4 identifies the relevant output of each occupation and estimates its demand elasticity. Yet occupations produce joint outputs in collaboration with other occupations, making this conceptually unclear. It's tough to disentangle the contributions of software engineers and product managers to a joint product, and even tougher to estimate separate demand elasticities for them. The cutoffs for the decision tree are never reported, rendering the categorization provided by OpenAI unverifiable. Small threshold changes could shift millions of workers between archetypes, and no robustness analysis is provided. The framework indicates where AI could affect jobs, not where it actually does. Firm-level adoption is heterogeneous in ways that occupation-level measures cannot capture. See the Kim et al. Experiment below. And where human input is classified as necessary, that necessity is itself downstream of regulatory and consumer choices that may shift with AI, as Abeluk argues. Finally, there is also a political economy perspective. OpenAI is positioning itself for the upcoming economic policy debate, and a framework that casts current trends as manageable serves that positioning. Would an AI token tax prevent adverse societal impacts from AI? See Figure 2. Lucas Irwin Oxford et al. Propose usage-based surcharges on model inference, so-called token taxes, to mitigate three economic risks of transformative AI: the erosion of the labor tax base, gradual disempowerment of citizens as states become less dependent on workers for revenue, and widening global inequality driven by compute concentration. Compared to existing robot tax proposals, the authors claim enforceability through cloud providers is easier, and that token taxes capture value where AI is used rather than where the models are hosted. Our analysis. The paper contains no formal model, simulation, or welfare calculation. The tax incidence depends critically on the demand elasticity of AI inference, the same object OpenAI struggles to measure. Reduced usage doesn't address safety risks, which don't scale with token volume. And the relationship to automation is weak. A research lab running millions of tokens for protein folding and a firm using AI to replace customer service workers would face the same per-token tax, despite radically different labor market implications. There is also a less obvious problem. Taxing inference tokens creates incentives to compress or eliminate chain-of-thought reasoning. Labs would invest in distillation, training smaller models to replicate reasoning outputs without intermediate steps, shifting computation from inference time tokens into model weights. This could reduce the tax base and make AI reasoning less observable, undermining the interpretability that safety researchers and regulators depend on. Mapping AI into production. The binding constraint is organizational. Kim, and Conning provide the clearest experimental evidence to date on why task-level AI productivity gains fail to aggregate to firm-level outcomes. They ran a pre-registered field experiment on 515 high-growth startups across the Middle East and Africa, Asia-Pacific, Europe, and the Americas as part of the INSEAD AI Founder Sprint. Both treatment and control groups received identical resources, such as $25,000 in API credits, technical AI training, and mentorship. However, treated founders received case studies on how AI-native firms have reorganized their production processes, while control firms received the standard entrepreneurship curriculum. The headline finding is counterintuitive. Treated firms grew faster, while demanding fewer resources. They reduced their anticipated capital requirements by 39.5%. approximately 220,000 per firm, P less than 0.05, with no change in labor demand, even as they generated 1.9 times higher revenue, P less than 0.1, and were 18% more likely to acquire paying customers, P less than 0.01. Treated firms identified 44% more AI use cases, 2.7 additional, P less than 0.01, concentrated in product development and strategy rather than in routine applications such as email drafting. They completed 12% more tasks, driven entirely by internal work, building, prototyping, rather than external activity, pitching, networking. Revenue gains were concentrated above the 90th percentile of the distribution. Most firms saw modest or zero revenue effects, but the few that comprehensively reorganized production experienced compounding gains. See Figure 3. Our analysis. This paper empirically addresses what may be the most important open question in AI economics: why task-level productivity gains have not yet aggregated into firm-level or macroeconomic outcomes. Multiple recent models, as covered in briefs number 1 and number 8, have tried to explain this difference through various mechanisms, providing evidence for the O-ring theory. Most firms see modest or zero gains, but the few that comprehensively reorganize production experience compounding effects. For open-ended activities, AI may increase output disparity. This differs from smaller-scale studies on specific tasks, where AI helped less skilled participants catch up. This paper indicates that search, not capability or access, is the main bottleneck for productivity growth from AI. But these large growth startups might benefit more from adopting AI than established companies do. Restructuring takes longer there because legacy systems and existing workflows create switching costs. Self-reported outcomes compound this, since coached founders may recognize and label more applications without necessarily implementing more, though the author's blinded coding protocol partially mitigates this. An appendix of supporting links is omitted from this narration.
All right, welcome back. So let's chat a little bit about the things that were involved. So the first one was this OpenAI paper. It was arguing that things that you might naively expect to be replaced and automated with AI, you might not lose those jobs because the demand goes up so greatly for those jobs, whereas other things that might not even be as automatable nonetheless, if you can and do it for a bit cheaper, there isn't as much extra demand for it, and so those jobs might be at more threat. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's the main point. I mean, I think the big problem is that, economists hardly could measure demand elasticity, and OpenAI just asked GPT 4.5 to say what's the demand elasticity of this stuff, and I mean, they can publish theirs, of course, and I don't know, also lobby with that. But yeah, I mean,
when they say publish, they mean on their blog.
On the blog, of course.
Not in some journal.
No, yeah, of course.
Well, that's good. Now that means that anytime anyone else does that with an LLM, they can say, as using the methodology pioneered by OpenAI in their groundbreaking paper.
Basically, I mean, but I think, to be fair, LLM classification, I think that's a growing thing. I like these AI exposure metrics. I think Lundu et al., for example, that was also from OpenAI, but I think it's quite common to use AI to do that, to classify 19,000 tasks in the database from the US Department of Labor on how automatable they are. I mean, I think those are quite theoretic. I mean, there are some papers, also one of which worked in that these AI exposure metrics can predict reductions in junior hiring. But in general, these tend to overestimate it, or maybe AI exposure is also good for you if there's if it augments your work or something like that. But yeah, I think demand elasticity was the main point on how they tried to rein in the
concerns about
the broad interpretation of AI exposure as displacement risk. But I mean, I think even the authors from 2 years ago, I think nobody really stated or believed that AI exposure is synonymous with displacement risk. I think they also have ChatGPT usage data, which shows that that's much lower in AI exposed jobs, but it's still correlated. with AI exposure matrices in these different jobs, and also they look at like regulatory necessity and like I think they just ask AI like is it necessity? Are there regulatory necessities for human to do it? And then they also dramatically reduce that or something like that.
So they're reprioritizing which jobs would be concerned for losing workers. Do you have any examples? Did they give any examples of which jobs they think will like not be as much at loss and which ones they think will have more concern as a result of this paper?
I think those tasks which are less exposed, they keep that as less exposed, like janitors, truck drivers. So I might disagree with them on truck drivers, since that's like only one simple task they need to drive. Other jobs need to do multiple tasks. So like once AI can do driving, I think all of the job is at risk. So I don't know. I think there are also like a few other papers which cover on like how related tasks are, and that's a big reason why there's not as much automation. I think like software developers, I think OpenAI agrees that they're quite exposed, but they say that the demand elasticity will be quite huge. I mean, like I also personally notice myself. I mean, like I code much more since code happens, and like maybe also small businesses will be able to afford like software developers or something like that. So that there might be much more demand for software developers in the future.
Yeah, that seems pretty plausible to me. So wait, it sounded like you said that both janitors and truck drivers and software developers are all less exposed. Was there any that it said were more exposed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I forgot that. Like, data entry kiosks or bookkeeping clerks. So I think that's a bit more routine work. People also would not like when the price of these kind of jobs falls. I think OpenAI believes that there won't be more demand for them. I think that's just quite routine task.
Yes, that makes sense.
Which like you need maybe a fixed amount of and not much more.
Yeah, I think some of my more cynical political people I read would more in this situation be like, aha, but those jobs could already have been fired, and they are sort of like bullshit jobs that are used to make sure people have money. So I don't know whether they predict that you will still have a weird like masses of bureaucrats who do very simple work as a result. But
I mean, like there are definitely jobs which benefit from occupational licensing, like lawyers or doctors, which might help them better AI automation. But yeah, I think that's also one category which OpenAI looks at.
That makes sense. Okay. Was this paper a surprise to you? Did you change your mind on anything important? Or was this how you expected things to be?
Yeah, I think I kindly agree. I think like the update is that you can be a bit more methodologically braver, and if you just use AI to get numbers. I think in the policy discourse, I think AI exposure has been overused. I mean, I think like most of the researchers have been aware of this, but I mean like they don't even report like which criteria to use to classify them into the 4 categories. So it's a bit hard to replicate or something like that for an external researcher. But I mean like I think it's directionally correct. It's a bit interesting that like I mean like they also had like an industrial policy paper where they had like a lot of policy recommendations with like maybe AI-driven windfalls should be taxed. That or like also like they advocated for rescaling and something like that. I mean like this paper is a bit more moderate now and it's like policy implications. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's also what I experienced in Brussels. Like I don't know, like the policy team statements always sound a bit more nicer than what lobbyists on the ground say in the end. Or I mean, like similar with DeepMind and Google, like they also say completely different things. But well, whatever.
Oh, DeepMind and Google do?
Yeah, I mean, like the DeepMind policy team, I think they have a good statements. But then in Brussels, there are like Google lobbyists who argue for the exact opposite, basically. But I mean, I think that's like also interesting, like the internal dynamics of these companies. But yeah.
That makes sense. The second piece was about this token tax. Is this a state tax or a federal level tax that's being proposed?
Yeah, I think that's a federal tax. I mean, like, well, I don't think anybody has specified that. Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, like otherwise you would just use VPN or something like that, right?
Sure.
To
What's
use ChatGPT from Nevada instead of California, but
yeah? I mean, you could probably just do that. Can you not do that already globally as well? You could be like, I'm going to use it from the Netherlands rather than
that's
from
a good
the US.
point. I should have mentioned it in the newsletter as well. But I critiqued the proposal of like Alex Bohr's already enough. So I thought, I mean, it.
What was did he say how much tax he was proposing per token?
No, I think it was even like just a 1 or 2 liner in his policy paper.
Oh.
I mean, like I think the Oxford paper who argues for this is a bit more extensive. But yeah, I think it's at this point it's very early stage. But yeah, I mean, like I think we also want with the newsletter to drive the discussion forward and want to have like interesting proposals, maybe some of which are not really thought out that well, but
it's good to start thinking about them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and so it seems like is the point you're trying to make that a lot of tokens get spent just on R&D and safety research and so on, rather than just in like practical like usage, and that's why you're concerned about the taxes it has?
Yeah, I think the main issue is that I mean, like as all taxpayers, they react on a tax, right? I mean, like normal taxpayers might move to another country, or I've heard a lot of AI Labs employees are considering moving out of California now before the IPOs. I mean, but the funny thing is that AI is able to do that as well, basically, if they change the training methods, right? Owen Evans had a nice paper on like out of context reasoning.
Owen Evans, yeah.
Owen Evans, and yeah, like there he showed that like you could also include reasoning in the model weights or in the forward passes, and that would not be taxed, and it's also more risky from a safety perspective.
Yeah.
Than like having the chain of thought, a lot of tokens in the chain of thought, which are observable for mechanistic interoperability reasons to look a bit what the black box is. So it's I don't know, it countervails. It's also Alex Bohr's safety agenda a bit. So yeah.
Is there any precedent? Are there precedents for taxing like usage of a product separately from just like the income that the company makes generally?
Yeah, I mean, like sales taxes are kind of usage based. That's a good question. I mean, like sugar taxes, alcohol taxes, truck taxes, something like that.
Just taxes for specific products.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I would imagine that you should be able to tax something more generally about the AI companies as opposed to like trying to guess where their profit comes from and then them readjusting where their profit comes from or how they use the product.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like I think the basic motivation for this is like to tax usage and not data centers or something like that. If you're concerned about automation, then like the tokens might be a bit more relevant than like just the data center. But I think like that's a quite weak argument. Like as I said in the newsletter, like a protein folding research company which uses a lot of tokens might be taxed even more than like a customer service replacement agency. So I think that's quite a weak job. And like from like a safety perspective, you don't really care about how much AI is used, just whether like the frontier AI model is deployed at all or not.
Yeah.
That's the more relevant question, right?
I see. I misunderstood that. Gotcha. Yeah. So how did you hear about this one such that you wanted to write about it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, I just saw like Twitter on some Signal groups. I think that one I saw on Twitter. Yeah, like the proposal from Alex Bohr's and like people were discussing the token tax. I mean, like, or like arguing in favor of it. I think Gavin Leach originally made it on Twitter, linked it to the Evans paper, and I guess I should have cited him in the newsletter.
Gavin Leach was going to be a resident at this Inkhaven, but personal reasons it didn't work out. But next time, probably.
Yeah. I also know him from back in the UK.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's unfortunate. We would be glad to catch up with him sometimes. Yeah, and then like the token tax paper from Oxford. Yeah, I've been to Oxford a few months back, and like I met the supervisor of the PhD student. He said to me that his PhD student is also interested in economic impacts and and writing about the token text. So I mean, like,
That's
and
interesting.
I read the paper, and
Nice.
the Alex Bose sort of, that's a interesting political cliffhanger to make it more interesting for readers to get into the weed of
That sounds good.
text proposal. But
Great. And then the last one was, I was confused a bit at first. It was saying that, companies that manage to, I thought it was just saying that companies that manage to integrate AI more, manage to integrate AI more. But then I realized it was an RCT. They, in fact, gave different companies different guidance with how to use AI. I think it was across a lot of different countries. It was like in India and a bunch of different places.
yeah, I think they had founders from different countries fly
I
into
see.
Paris
In Paris.
to
Nice.
to contribute to like INSEAD is the business school there to do a acceleration program, a bit like Y Combinator for like Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think they got like the same resources, like same API credits, but like one half got like standard entrepreneurship curriculum, the other half really got like AI use cases, like how other startups are deploying it in the work streams, and I think that really helped the top best startups really to generate like 90% more return.
90%. Oh, jeez. I was going to say, it seems a bit of a trivial result to say those who were given education about how to use a product used it better than those who did not get education about how to use a product. But the quantity is relevant. That is interesting.
Yeah, I think the quantity is quite large. Also, it's suggested like the impacts of AI are quite large. Like once people really restructure the workflow, get to know how AI is understands, like on like a firm or macro perspective, there has not been large productivity impacts from AI so far. But yeah, it's not really resources or something that matters. But I think this really indicates that it's just like a search problem, or like using how to adopt AI best, not only like adopting it AI in any manner.
Can I see the did they have a chart with results, a graph of like how much more it got used?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think they have multiple graphs. Like in my newsletter, I had the one revenues by quintile. Like, I mean, like with startups, like 80% of startups go broke anyways, so they don't really matter.
That is interesting. The is this this is revenue. So the best startup without the AI assistance made about $250,000, and the best startup with AI educational assistance made about $500,000. So yeah, it looks to be like twice as much. It really takes off at the peak.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like only significant on a 10% level, so it might also be a fluke. But it's like really like it's on average 90% revenue increase for all startups, and it's mostly driven by like the top 5% of startups. So I think that's a quite interesting result. I don't know, like, might also indicate that it might like superstar dynamics, that like the best companies and firms like grow even larger. I think that might also indicate this.
Did anything about how you wrote this newsletter or how you were approaching these change as a result of being here at Inkhaven?
Good question. I mean, like, yeah, I think I try to reduce like the subject terminology a bit, or make it more accessible. I don't know, like, or start with the policy result. I think that changed a bit. I mean, like, I also Scott Alexander gave the advice to also, like, I think I had a few confusing headlines to make that a bit more clarifying, like that.
Why did you come to Inkhaven? What were your goals in coming here?
Yeah, well, I think I want to communicate the research I'm doing myself at King's College, or also in general, like, economic impact from AI. I think like writing is probably like the best form for me from that, instead of like, I don't know, annoying policymakers at happy hours, or I don't know, or doing podcast is also fine. I hope let's see how that goes. Haven't tried that out that much, so that's glad that I can try that out here as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that's I wanted to improve my writing skills. Like, I'm not a native. I think I remember my high school teachers were quite fond of my writing, but that was also more of the analysis than of my writing skills. So I thought I would try to get up to speed. I mean, like, I've never been to the United States before, so as I've been working on AI like for 2 or 3 years now, I thought it was finally time to see it close hand. What's developed in Berkeley and San Francisco.
That makes sense.
Also visiting Stanford was quite nice.
How's it gone? Have you met any of your writing goals while you've been here?
Yeah, good question. I think like since you have to publish daily, it really forces you to be less embarrassed about putting stuff outside. Since I know my private Substack, I didn't have that many subscribers. I was not worried about that. But I think now, like, I think the people on the subscriber list are a bit impressive already. So I like, and like last week, I also noticed that you don't need to send out an email every time you publish something on Substack. So I think for my less effort post, I stopped sending out the emails to everybody.
What's been the ratio of AI content versus non-AI content that you've published?
I think I try to stay a lot on topic. I mean, like other participants also praised me for writing that much about AI. I think I did a bit of economics. First week I've been on a skiing vacation in Austria, so that was a bit rougher, or was about anything that flew out of my fingertips. But I think that was good training in the beginning. So like, I really got used to the habit of like, I think like also like Anton Leicht recommended that to me earlier, that you just, what are you thinking about, like what keeps you up, and start writing about that. So I had like a plan about like posts I want to write every day, but like I just was like, what's up to date now in the news, what are you thinking about, and just write that down, your thoughts on that a bit.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, I never wrote much more than 1,000 words per day as I was a bit time constrained and also didn't want to make my employers that unhappy. But yeah, I mean, that's how I did it. I mean,
Yeah. Have you explored much in other kinds of writing while you've been here?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I think kind of that naturally happens. I mean, like, I haven't gotten the Inkhaven pin yet. I mean, like, I have like 6 ones were already accepted, but I haven't done an advice post yet.
Have you done a fiction?
I did fiction twice or 3 times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like always related to AI and automation a bit. But yeah, that was funny. Like, but like the advice post is still missing, even so like I'm a bit of trying to be a know-it-all in my newsletters. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like I was thinking either maybe on the final day I could make a bit more progressive. Why not to go to Inkhaven or something like that?
Sure.
Or
10 reasons not to go to Inkhaven.
Yeah, like the other advice post I was thinking of was like a meta guide on like AI hubs. I mean, like I lived in Brussels, London, Cambridge, Bay Area now. I think like comparing them or linking to like resources, I think that could be interesting.
Sounds great.
We also have a competitive advantage.
I didn't realize how out of sorts it was for you, but I enjoyed your piece about the poker tournament.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, like, and you even won more money, so you should have written a better article, huh? But
yeah, the story of how you won money, but I won a lot of money. It was good. I mean, I didn't realize I had 5 beers and won the tournament. You had been using Claude every round, apparently, to look at your hand and get his advice.
Not every round. I mean, I did it after the rounds just to get feedback. I mean, like a bit like reinforcement learning or something like that, like getting more feedback on that.
And that is how you came second.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like, I mean, like that's true. Like, it was funny. Like on the final round, like people were much more relaxed, and like on the first table, like people used the laptop afterwards to look up their hands. Oh, I was like back in Germany, I was playing it more for fun, so like we never dropped out before flop, just to look at. So nobody raised before flop, so that everybody could have cards and we could have playing and not just shuffling the whole time. But I mean, like that was the first time I was also playing for money, so they were a bit in, and then like.
You're a new poker player as well?
Even though I mean, like I played 4 times for a few years, but like I mean, like I didn't like beforehand, like I always. Before the flop, I always called so that I could get more data on like the first 3 cards and only start really playing that. But then like, yeah, I mean like I didn't really have good cards and then lost a lot of money in the first round. So that motivated me, and like other people were saying, "Oh my God, he will drop out soon" or something like that. Then I think I didn't want to embarrass myself and
that's nice. But
started looking at Claude or like giving basic poker advice. But I mean like that's what every poker teacher heard. I mean, like, also, like, I also heard, like, that you should drop out as a beginner more often, or only raise for the flop.
Sure.
Hardly ever call, only raise when you have like decent cards.
Yes.
But I think I still played, compared to you, I still played a bit too precautiously. Like I think you had more fun,
But yeah, I
more
brought
all-ins, and
But yeah, I made I think $270 because it was 27 people who put in 20 and I got half. And then you made what did you make?
I think 160. Yeah,
160.
my first freedom dollars. Like I've never had US cash. My first freedom dollars. I'm happy. That's a very American way to do it. I'm not sure what I should learn from that. I'm doing a road trip after Inkhaven.
Anyway,
on the West Coast, but I should go to Las Vegas. Let's see.
I don't know what you spent your winnings on, but I bought these 2 books for the Lighthaven Library.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, maybe you should also sponsor something. Yeah.
The Master and Margarita by Bulgakov with a lot of great art inside of it and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And
You have such a great library.
And some.
Well, I hardly have time reading. Like, there's so like I also have like a reading list of 50 pages of books I haven't read. So, and a lot of those are like here in physically presented as books. Like, yeah, I should have read more.
Have you,
but like I need to. I'm writing more. I think that's also nice.
Yeah. It reminds me. Sometimes Scott Garibrandt on Less Wrong would say, "Ben, I can either write Less Wrong posts or read Less Wrong posts. You can make your choice." Did you get to read much of the other residents while you've been here? Is anyone in particular who's writing you?
Not as much as I would like. I mean, like I hardly use like the Inkhaven. I think like I was quite surprised that like even among like writers and Inkhaven participants, the algorithm works the same way as it does for other social media, like the clickbaity stuff or like meta posts go high, sex and dating posts go high. I mean, like when you just keep at your normal AI and economic speed and Eurobeat, I think Eurobeat was probably the worst one among Inkhaven participants.
I didn't write this Inkhaven.
Huh?
I didn't do any writing this Inkhaven.
Oh yeah. I mean like my Europe. Like I also wrote some Europe pieces. I think like hardly anybody read that. Yeah, but I think like some people are writing about adjacent stuff. But yeah, I think I should even talk to them more. I mean, like everybody is busy writing stuff down and like.
How many hours a day do you spend writing your piece?
Oh, it depends. Like I always have to submit it on the portal, right? I think I always say 4 to 8 hours. Yeah, something a cheat trick like after day 20, like in every Zoom call I was with like a friend or colleague, I tried to get them to co-author a thing with me. Like I'm running out of ideas. They have good ideas, but probably don't want to waste time writing blog posts.
Did it work even once?
I think she had the idea. Then I had to publish something that day. So I just had to publish it that day. So I wrote my own thoughts on that topic down. And I think that's a much more effort post. Like we are looking at like with like a pre-doc from Oxford. We're looking together like how AI impacts research. Like research taste, data analysis, experimentation, writing, reviewing, which kind of the steps of research AI has an impact, what will the overall impact be. So we are reviewing a bit literature, making our own take. I think that should go online today. I think the good thing is like
we can put a link in the description.
Yeah, we totally should do that. I mean, like we already have the first draft. Like normally I start writing at 6 p.m. after having finished work or something like that. So I feel quite relaxed. I don't know. And now to like take care that it's like a bit careful written and having time reviewing it. But yeah.
Which piece that you've written at Inkhaven are you the proudest of?
I think that's a good question. I mean, like it's only weakly related to what's been most popular. I mean, like the Chet Jones paper was like the most popular. It was also quite decent. Like I was attending a lecture in Berkeley from like a Stanford growth theorist, where he looked at like the Weaklings paper, which I also
theorist.
Yeah, like economic growth.
Oh, growth. Yes.
Growth theorist. I think there are not too many in economics of them. And like I think he had some leading models on that.
Growth theory is a dying field. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I think like it's just in academic economy, like on like business cycles are much more research, for example.
I see.
It's also quite theoretical, and like you can't really do much empirical work on that, which has been a much bigger focus of economics.
But you summarized his paper.
Yeah, like for the AI economics brief, I summarized this paper, and like for the Inkhaven piece, I just linked to that, and also and also to other summaries of it. Yeah, I think it was more about the Bay Area's conference, and also about this theory in particular, like explaining that maybe that like one difference between like accelerationist and safetyist is like that the effects will happen on different timeline, right? Like to have like the huge benefits of AI, you need AI to help you in every step in the task chain. For example, if like one weak link or bottleneck, which is still where you still need humans, you won't really see transformative impact. I think that also implies like that when you have like when you automate software engineering, then this will only increase GDP by 2% because it's like approximately because like software engineering is only like 2% of the economy and it might not really grow. But yeah, like on the other hand, like if like the safety benefits, if you really like only deploy AI in one task, I don't know, like let's say I don't know, like cyber capabilities or something like that, and then it wreaks havoc there, it can have even larger effects, right? So you only need to make it go wrong once, and but for having the benefits, that's much later when everything works. Yeah, I think that was a good conceptual point which he drove down in the lecture.
So was he was pushing that there will not be as much growth as you might otherwise expect.
That's also one of the implications, yes, or like quite later. But like, yeah, I think the main point that like tasks are complementary, like that you like is probably true. Like he basically extrapolated like automation rates of the past and that it continues with AI. Yeah, I think like he had like that like the economy will be only automated by 98% in 2070, and only then we'll have like takeoff and singularity. So I think like most in the AI community would be a bit faster, right?
Yes.
But I mean, like for economists, I think that's already quite trend change
Interesting.
out of the Overton window a bit, or like I think it's inside of the Overton window now. But
So you wrote about his talk and his ideas in his paper, and that was both popular and you think that was a good one of yours.
Yeah, I would say so.
But yeah, was there anything else that you were especially proud of?
Oh yeah, I thought on like the poker thing.
Yeah, it was a
that
good one.
quite funny.
That was fun. I was slightly surprised to realize that probably you don't write so many personal stories as blog posts before that, and so that was one of your first ones, I'm guessing.
That's true. I mean, like I mean, like I had like one blog post on my Substack before coming to Inkhaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's much more policy related. Also, like some of my writing is in German.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, but like also fiction was fun to work. I mean, like I also asked a lot of feedback from like more the writing advisors on that. I think the topic was fun, but like I think there would be a hill still steep hill to climb to become better at fiction.
What was the best feedback you got from anyone, whether it's a writing advisor or a resident at Inkhaven?
Well, so maybe I just stay in my lane with research communication. I don't know. Like I also wanted to develop my voice a bit more at Inkhaven. I'm not sure that really worked out. I don't know. Maybe the pieces were too short for this, or like maybe I also didn't ask for enough feedback. But yeah, like good feedback. Yeah, I mean like Scott gave like changed the headings or something like that, or like where it was like a bit too technical my parts. I think that was useful. But yeah, I think that was the most effort ones. Yeah, what other good feedback did I get? I mean, like the fiction writing, I think there's a lot of like fine tail feedback which Alexander gave, for example, or Justice as well. Yeah, I don't know that I shouldn't do questions and then immediately answer it, or I mean, like really have a thesis statement. I think that's also what I learned during Inkhaven. I think when you start writing an essay at 8 p.m. and are just thinking a bit about the topic and start writing, then you change your opinion halfway through. That will always end in a mess with Inkhaven. So you really need a thesis statement. Ideally, write it in the beginning. So with online writing, people click away soon. Like you really have to have a good start, make your main point there already, and like have a nice introduction.
How
And
much
then
other
structure all your arguments in favor of that.
how much other work were you doing during Inkhaven?
Yeah, that's a good. I think it was quite flexible. I mean, like the AI economics brief that were kind of my effort posts.
That was congruent with the kind of stuff you were
Yeah,
wanting to
that
do.
was. I could also submit it on the portal, so that was lucky. Yeah, I mean, I didn't do as much. I mean, like I'm also doing a bit of policy advocacy and policy research in Germany, which I guess I'm doing as a leisure time. So
But is it like a part-time 20 hours a week? Was it like a full-time 40 hours a week of
yeah, I
work?
mean, I think it was like 10 to 20 hours. I really should track my time a bit more, even though I have like toggle already for 3 employers. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, maybe doing a bit too much side projects or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, like King's College. Yeah, I mean, like, I did the research. My boss also was on vacation, luckily, so he didn't reply to my email for a few days, which I was grateful for.
Yeah. Was there any other writing here at Inkhaven or any other conversations that you had that were especially relevant for your work that you liked or for your thinking?
Yeah, I think with Wim, he was talking a bit about like Canadian AI strategy.
Yep.
I think I should have talked to him. I think we only talked briefly, but we wrote about similar topics. Yeah, I think from a military perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been. Maybe I should just talk to him more at lunchtime or something. I still have like 1 or 2 more days left, right? Before everybody leaves. I think Austin on economic history. I think I also commented on him once or twice. That's a bit interesting. Also had a few courses for that.
It sounds like you didn't talk to people very much. Have you had good conversations with people, or have you mostly been in your room working?
Yeah, I mean, like when, yeah, I mean, like during like food time, I've been talking to people. I don't know. I have like, yeah, I mean, like I have a lot of Zoom calls at 7 or 8 a.m. with Europe, so that drastically curtails my evening activities, unfortunately.
That makes sense.
And then, like, I'm also publishing only at 10 or 11, and then I'm just falling asleep afterwards. But, but yeah, I mean, like, I think,
Have you made friends here you think you'll continue chatting with afterwards, or?
good question. I mean, like, I've been moving around too much. I don't know. I mean, like,
That's fine.
I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was also thinking about writing that. It's like a bit the like decreasing returns to moving around to countries. I think I lived in like 4 countries the last 4 years. So I don't know. I mean, like, I will like there was already a clear end line in sight. So it's not. I didn't bother too much investing too much in social relationship. I mean, like, I think I was nice to everybody or talked to everybody at like food hours. I don't know. Didn't do
But
much
yeah,
special
and you were
stuff.
also not here for the
I went
first
to
week.
like few trips or like Red Road or something like that.
And you weren't here
But
the first week?
I also was not here the first week. I decided like after like 8 weeks in Cambridge crunch time, I also need to go skiing before the season is already over.
Is there any advice you'd have given yourself differently when you got for doing Inkhaven? About how you approach the writing or the environment, or?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of reduced my working hours, but I guess it would have been even better if I had completely focused on the writing. Yeah, I mean, like, also traveling around in the Bay Area a bit more. I mean, like, I'm in the first time here, but I'm like the next 2 weeks, I'm like going to DC, New York, and LA and road trip. So I think I thought when I'm already here, like I have to see the whole country or at least the 2 coasts, right? But
Who are you going on road trips with?
oh, I think I mean, like maybe I should ask people around, but like I mean, like already booked the dates.
Yeah, you should post it at least in Slack. And
Yeah, I
be
will
like, hey.
post it on Slack. Yeah.
That seems good. What was your most Inkhaven experience? Your most an experience you could only have if you had trapped 55 writers in a compound for a month.
Yeah, I mean, I think the office hours by Scott Alexander were quite nice. I mean, like, I think it might have been even better than a lecture, right? It can elicitate maybe the tacit knowledge of writers a bit more when they really give like concrete feedback on stuff. Like, for some, he criticized that they were not clear enough in their opinions. For like experienced writers, he just critiqued the commas for commatas setting for like 20 minutes. Yeah, for me it was a bit the structure or something like that. So I mean, like you also learn a lot about the different settings. I think like the main thing was like a lot of people were like just unclear in their writing. Maybe it's also a bit because I'm non-native or I didn't get the fiction references, but like it was like a lot of highbrow writing. I don't know, so it's, I guess, a bit similar to the issues I've been having with the economics brief. That's not that accessible.
I enjoyed reading this one. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
I did ask ChatGPT to answer a few questions for me about it, but that's how I read all papers.
That's good to know. Oh yeah, but something maybe more like collective experience. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think the road trip to Redwoods was quite nice, but I'm not sure that it was something special to the writing. Oh yeah, like just getting into the habit of writing everything. Like I just use like Whisperflow, the transcription tool, like on my phone. If I have a nice experience, or every time I went to Stanford or San Francisco, on the bus I was just talking to Whisperflow to just have my chain of thought. Or like once I did my first Waymo ride here in San Francisco, like that's unfortunately not
With
possible
the
in
Waymo,
Europe. Yeah, like autonomous driving. So I also like was talking to Whisperflow beforehand, during it, and afterwards, and then wrote it up. So I think then you can. I think that's something which you probably only got through Inkhaven.
All right.
People were playing Mario Kart. I guess I should have done it as well. But I'm like karaoke, like in Cambridge like 2 months ago. Like I did like karaoke in 3 languages. I'm not sure that I can add a 4th one. Probably can't add a 4th one today.
That sounds good.
I don't know. Oh, maybe Bavarian. I'm not sure whether that counts as language. But
It does.
Yeah, it would be fun to bond at least on the final day with the participants, I guess. But
yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for writing the brief and all the other essays. Looking forward to reading more of the briefs in the future. And thanks for coming.
Thank you for taking the time, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. All right. Farewell. Before we wrap up, I'd just like to thank our sponsor for this episode, WordPress.com. As a teenager, many of the blogs I grew up reading were built using WordPress, such as Slaystar Codex, Don't Worry About the Vars, and Shtetl Optimized. The co-founder of WordPress, Matt Mullenweg, went on to build WordPress.com, a hosting service that supports bloggers. It provides an interface that allows you to design your website and to use the near infinite family of libraries and plugins that have been built for WordPress. If you're someone who cares to be able to design your own blog, for your ideas, for your writing, and for your own aesthetic, then by far one of the best options on the internet today is WordPress.com.